is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Happy Friday, or whatever day that you are watching this on. So today, well, in my last video I talked about why I don't track food or post what I eat in a days, although I am going to get a little more into tracking again, which I explained in my last video, the reason why and just sort of how I'm going to be doing it. But I mentioned how I went through a whole cut by not tracking anything. My cat just loves the camera. By not tracking anything, and I've talked about it on my social media before. I've made like some TikToks about it. I've posted about it on Instagram, but I figured that I would go a little bit more into depth with you guys and talk about specifically how I did that, and I'll do it for a bulk as well. I figured I might as well make that into one video, so how you can go through a cut and a bulk, both by not tracking food or not tracking macros, and I'll try and make it as brief as possible. But this does involve having an active lifestyle and lifting, because this is my experience and that's just what I'm explaining to you guys through this. So if you are someone who lifts, this is going to be very beneficial to you. If not, you may need to make some adjustments, but I am explaining to you guys my experience about it. I kind of debated how I was going to sort of go through these, whether I wanted to do bulking and cutting separately, but we'll just see how it goes. I'll start getting into it and we'll see where it takes us. So, of course, as you should all know, or as most people should know, that nutrition counts for 80% of your goals. So the 80-20 rule, 80% nutrition, 20% fitness. That is how your results are measured. So it doesn't matter how hard you are lifting, it doesn't matter how heavy you're lifting, it doesn't matter how often you're training. If you are not focusing on nutrition, you are not going to see results. It's literally just as simple as that. Your nutrition counts for everything. The whole point of a bulk and a cut is that you are eating in a caloric surplus, a caloric deficit. It's about what you're eating. Although when you're on a bulk, obviously you're trying to lift a little bit heavier, and since you're eating more, you're getting some more PRs, you're going a little heavier, but that does not mean on a cut that you cannot, first of all. But that is what most people try to do, and really push that heavy weight. But if you are not eating correctly, is the main point, you are not going to see results. It's that simple. So the simplest way to do this when it comes to being in a deficit is simply lowering your portion sizes, having smaller portions, having less snacks. That is the easiest thing that you can do when it comes to this. And if you're in a set routine, it's going to be that much easier for you. So for example, like I go to work 5 days a week, or 2 days I work from home, but still I have a routine. I get up, I pack my lunch, I go to work. I have a snack on my way to work. I have something mid-morning. I have my lunch. I have a snack before the gym, and then I come home and have dinner. I have a routine, and I usually eat the same things. Like the snacks that I bring are the same. Dinner is really the only thing that varies, and usually for lunch will be my leftovers from dinner, or maybe I'll bring a protein shake along. It kind of depends, but I have a routine for it basically. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a routine. It's just when you're eating, lowering those portion sizes. So you're looking at it and you're just taking as much as you want or what you think you want to have. Just lower that a little bit. You'll be surprised how much will probably fill you up or satisfy you. You don't need to be full in order to be done with a meal. Satisfied is a good ending point, and that's something that took me a really long time to kind of adjust to, was listening to my body and saying, okay, I'm satisfied, I don't need any more food, and then not forcing myself to finish my plate and then just feeling stuffed and gross for the rest of the night. That was a big thing that I had to kind of adjust to, because I'm used to like, I'm just gonna finish my plate, oh, there's not a lot left, I'm just gonna finish it. And I would just feel so full. So listening to your body goes along with that, which is why having a smaller portion size, and if you're really still that hungry, then you can go and maybe have a little bit more, but lower that portion size. And then if you snack during the day, same thing, just lower your snacking portion size or have less snacks throughout the day. If your body is really that hungry, yes, eat. But if you're just snacking for the sake of snacking because you're bored, same with late night, which is, I know, really hard, just don't just try and avoid that snacking. It's good to listen to your body. If it is really that hungry, yes, eat. There are also healthier options at night. It is a great time to have some extra protein, whether there is a sole protein-based snack or having a shake to supplement. Again, supplement is a supplement for a reason. Obviously have real food when you can, but this is something where something like a protein shake is really good because protein is very filling, and it's good to have that at night because it's something small, it's something low in calories, it's something that's going to help you with your goal, and it's going to make you fill up and you won't be as hungry. So that's a great option to have at night if you are someone who snacks at night or gets hungry at night or thinks you get hungry at night. But lower your portion sizes, lower your snacking portions, decrease your snacking. That is such an easy way to cut down your calories bit by bit. Now, in terms of bulking, the same exact things apply. Increase your portions a little bit. You don't have to drastically increase and have 2 meals at a time and all this. Just gradually increase your portions. Have a few snacks during the day. Have a protein shake before you go to bed. Have a protein shake when you wake up, and then have your meals throughout the day. Break up your meals into smaller, more frequent sections. If you need to eat something every hour, every 2 hours, whatever it is, just gradually increase those portions. Your metabolism will adjust as well. That's the great thing about it. But gradually increasing those portions, increasing your snacking portions, and increasing your snacking are a good way to increase your calories if you're trying to go through a bulk and through a caloric surplus. So it's the same thing, except you're just doing opposite for each. If you're trying to go through a deficit, you're going to sort of try and decrease your portion sizes. If you're going through a bulk, you're going to try and increase those portion sizes. It's the same sort of application, it's just the opposite for each. Now, along with that, also protein. So if you are lifting, protein is so important. And also, I want to point this out before I continue about protein. Carbs are just as important as protein when it comes to muscle building. Protein, yes, is the building block of muscle. This is what we need to feed our muscles, to grow our muscles. That is 100% true. But if you are not getting enough carbs, protein is going to end up, along with fat as well, but the key point is that protein will end up working with this as well, will end up supplementing for energy and become an energy source versus going towards building fat. So if you are not getting enough protein, or if you are not getting enough carbs, then your body is going to need something to supplement for that energy because carbs are our main energy source, and they're going to go to protein. So all the protein you're eating isn't going towards muscle building as much as you would want it to. So you want to make sure you're still getting enough carbs so that way you can allow protein to do its complete job in your body. Now, if you are in a deficit and you are lifting, if you're trying to go through a cut and you're lifting, so you're starting to lower those portion sizes, snack a little bit less, listening to your body more, and listening to when it's full and it does not need any more snacks, any more of your meal, you still want to focus on protein. Protein is going to be extra important, especially if you want to continue to build muscle, to maintain the muscle that you have, to increase on your lifts. You are going to want to really focus on protein. Again, carbs are important just as much, but it's going to be harder, obviously, because most people do not meet their protein goals to begin with. That is just a known fact. Most people think they're getting enough protein when really you don't. Like me personally, I aim to eat about 180 grams of protein a day, probably a little bit more, and it's hard. It is very hard to get those protein goals, even if you are going through a bulk. Like, it is very hard. So you really want to try and focus on that and choose some high protein options, and that is going to be really beneficial for you because you do want to make sure that even though, yes, you're not tracking food, but it's good to maybe look at the label and see this is really high in protein. This is something that'd be great. And again, this is something where a protein shake, something like that, a protein bar is going to come in handy if you are in a deficit because you're lowering your portion sizes already, decreasing your snacking a little bit, but you can get that extra protein in to, one, satisfy that hunger, and two, helping you go towards your protein goals because, again, we are trying to maintain the muscle that we have and continue to grow further muscle and still progress in the gym while cutting down on body fat. So again, a supplement is a supplement for a reason, and you should always do your research into supplements, consult with a doctor if you have reason to. a supplement is a supplement for a reason. I can't stress that enough, but this is where they're great. They can really help you in that sense. So just being sure that you're getting that protein intake, it's really going to make a difference when it comes to being in a cut and still lifting. And you'll notice if you are not getting enough protein, trust me. And of course, the same goes for a bulk. And you'd think, okay, well, if I'm on a bulk, if I'm increasing my portions and increasing what I'm eating, it's going to be very easy to hit that protein goal, which is true. You're probably going to have more protein, or it's going to be easier, you realize, to get in more protein. But protein is the most filling macronutrient. Between carbs and fats and protein fills you up the most when you have it out of all of those. So that being said, it can be hard to eat more when you're trying to eat more protein, if that makes sense. So if you're trying to eat very high protein meals, you're going to get full quicker. You're going to get more full quicker, and you may find it harder to reach that calorie goal if you are eating higher protein meals and snacks. And especially if they are calorie dense, meaning they don't have a lot of calories to begin with. Now again, I know we're not tracking, but when you're increasing portion sizes, you obviously notice you're eating more calories. You know that's the deal. But you are going to find that you are going to be more full. And like I said, your metabolism will adjust. But this is where splitting up those meals really comes into play, because when you are trying to increase that protein, you are going to feel more full more quickly. So keep that in mind and really focus on spreading out your protein, because you are going to feel more full more quickly for longer, and that may affect how you increase your portions. You're gonna say, well, I'm still not that hungry, so I'm not gonna eat as much because then I'm gonna be way too full. And it can be hard, and it's hard to make that adjustment. But having, again, a shake, a bar, something that is going to get you to that protein goal that maybe is just a little something on the side, some extra calories, an extra portion of something, to make sure you're getting that protein, but also prevent you from feeling overly stuffed, because that can definitely be uncomfortable and annoying. But you'll adjust, and most people do not reach their cutting and bulking goals after doing it just once. First of all, you should always go through a bulking phase first and then go through a cut. Don't just try and go into a cut right out the bat. You go through a bulking phase, then a cutting phase, and usually people do this every year, or people do this for X amount of time. Then eventually people may just want to maintain, or maybe one year you don't want to do it, vice versa, whatever it may be. But after one time, you're usually not going to see the results that you want. And that's okay. That's why people do this multiple times. So as you keep doing this, your body will adjust correctly, and you'll start to get the hang of it. You'll know what portions are good for you when you're doing each goal, and vice versa. Now let's talk about the exercise portion of it, so that 20%. So when it comes to a caloric deficit, you are eating less calories than you are burning in a day. That is the gist of it. And so the more calories you're burning, the easier that deficit is going to be. Now, of course, you still have to eat. That is a key thing. Continue to eat and keep your metabolism going. But increasing the intensity of your workouts is going to help burn more calories. So that does mean lifting heavy. Don't be afraid to lift heavy just because you're in a deficit. Now, you may not see as big of results because you're not eating as much as you would be when you are increasing those portions and you're eating more calories and in that caloric surplus, but it helps. You're intensifying your workout. Same with adding some cardio in. Now, you don't need to do 20 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of cardio, maybe just 10 minutes at the end of a workout, or 10 minutes 3 times a week, or dedicate an extra day to doing it. Something like that. You do not need to go crazy with it, but it helps because you're burning those extra calories. Now, when you are burning those extra calories, you're going to be a little hungrier, so you will notice that, but you can eat a little more because you burned extra calories in the day. Compared to if you were just sitting here all day, you're not going to be as hungry, and you're not burning as many calories. But the more you work out, the more intense you go, the hungrier you will be. But increase the intensity of your workouts. Don't be afraid to lift heavy, and add a little bit of cardio if you choose to. Maybe your workouts are intense enough that you really don't need to. Mine were. I wasn't doing cardio that much. I was doing maybe 15 minutes of the stairs about 3 times a week, And that was pretty much it. So you really don't need a ton of cardio, but it does help to increase that deficit number there. Now for a bulk, and of course the main point of a bulk is you're trying to put on muscle, you're trying to get bulky, and you're in a caloric surplus, so you are eating more calories than you are burning. Now, the thing I want to specify with this is you do not need to neglect cardio when you're on a bulk. Obviously, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but you don't need to neglect cardio. Cardio is great for cardiovascular health, but when you're on a bulk, you don't need to avoid it. But the thing to keep in mind is you are going to be burning more calories, and if you're in a surplus and you're trying to eat more calories than you're burning, you're going to have to make up for that in what you eat. So you're going to have to try and now eat more, which again, you will be a little hungrier, but still, you're going to have to try and eat more now that you burn those extra calories. But again, you don't need to not do cardio, you don't need to neglect it, but just keep that in the back of your mind if you are trying to bulk. In the heavier, train more for strength, do lower reps, higher weight. It's going to make a difference when you're eating more. You're going to notice a difference with how you train and how your body feels when it comes to lifting heavier weight. So that's what I wanted to point out when it came to lifting for bulking. Bulking tends to be much easier in terms of your exercise because you're gonna feel stronger, you're gonna feel more energized, and you're going to lift heavier. But I wanted to make that point about cardio, where you don't have to avoid it when you are bulking, but you do need to remember that you're going to need to make up for those calories if you're trying to eat more. So you're gonna have to have some bigger portions after, but honestly, maybe bring a snack when you go to the gym. And a lot of people do that. Bring a Rice Krispie treat, bring a protein bar, something like that, and it'll keep you going. So just something to think about if you are trying to go through and put on muscle and really do a bulk without tracking your food that you're going to need to supplement for those calories that you're burning through cardio. Okay, the very last thing that I wanted to mention on here or about this topic now, this doesn't necessarily apply to a bulk, a surplus, because obviously you are trying to eat more, but when it comes to a deficit, when it comes to even trying to maintain your weight, you need to remember to eat and listen to your body. I know it's hard when you're not tracking, but tracking can honestly make it worse sometimes. If you watch my other video, then you know that was like my experience. But listen to your body when it's hungry. Do not just avoid it. Don't push it off. Don't just listen to your body. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people obviously try to eat a minimal amount and they think that's going to help, which one, if you're lifting, that is totally not going to help you reach your lifting goals and help you build muscle. That is going to do the total opposite. It's just not going to work the way you want it to. But your metabolism, like I said, it adjusts to what you do. So if you are eating less and less, if you're not listening to your body when it's hungry, your metabolism is going to slow down, which you don't want. No one wants their metabolism to really slow down. Maybe some people do if it is an issue, but a majority of people do not want their metabolism to slow down. So that being said, if you are someone who is doing that, who's avoiding listening to their body, avoiding eating when they should be, avoiding trying to hit a certain calorie goal, maybe if you do track, then your metabolism is going to slow. And when you do try and go through a bulk, or you think you reached your goal and maybe you start increasing those portions a little bit more, increasing what you're eating, you're going to gain weight so much quicker because your metabolism has slowed. It's not able to keep up with that because you slowed it. So that is really important to remember, and that's a big thing that people do not realize, is that you are slowing your metabolism. And I know it's hard when you're not tracking, like I said, but just listen to your body. That's like the biggest thing. Have something when you wake up. Get your metabolism going for the rest of the day. Have something. This is a great thing to have protein before going to bed. Like I already went over all the other benefits. Keeps your metabolism going through the night. You'll wake up and you'll probably feel hungry and you'll have something and you'll be ready to start your day. Like it's that easy. So just remember to eat. That's like the biggest thing. But that was all the points I wanted to make. That was my experience. Those are the things that helped me the most. I hope that was a little helpful for you guys. I know I tend to ramble, but I wanted to put this all into one video versus making one for bulking, one for cutting, because they're basically the same things, just opposite. So I wanted to just combine it into one video. But again, I hope that was a little helpful for you guys and you are able to use this in your own goals if you are someone who doesn't track, because tracking is not for everyone. So it's totally up to you. In my next video, I'm going to talk about discipline and keeping a healthy balance in your life while also really sticking to your goals. Again, if you're someone who wants that healthy balance, if you aren't someone who, for example, is doing prep, is doing competing, that's a totally different ballpark, but someone who's trying to maintain that healthy balance, healthy lifestyle, that is going to be my next video, and talking about what it really takes for discipline and how you can still hit your goals despite also still living your life, believe it or not. So that's going to be my next video, which may be on Monday or possibly next Friday. It's going to be sometime next week, but hopefully you guys will be back for that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.